Hi guys, and welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Death in Paradise Christmas special, which came out on the 28th of December, or 29th, I can't specifically remember now, but it was a really good episode. I'm just going to be reviewing it, talking about it, and everything like that. But before we get into that, I just want to say a big happy New Year to everyone. Hope you all had a great, Christmas and New Year's Eve and stuff like that. And yeah, 2026, and I can't believe we made it. This channel is going to be 5 years old this year, so that's blown my mind really, because it's moved pretty quick. So this episode did a really great idea, which I thought was really good, and it sort of tricked you as to who the main one was, which I think is really good in a Death in Paradise episode, to trick the audience into thinking whoever is the detective, and or whoever is the murderer. The detective can do all that sort of stuff to work out. I think it's really good in this episode particularly. So the episode opens in Swindon. And you're probably thinking, this is Death in Paradise, Evan. Why is it opening in Swindon? Yeah, it opens in Swindon, really randomly, to this woman, Marjorie. And she's carrying a suitcase full of clothes. Looks like she's been on holiday or something like that. But then we fast forward back in time, to all of the people getting ready for a work Christmas do. And they do a work Christmas do. And Marjorie finds out she hasn't been invited. So she's a bit annoyed, because she's always wanted to go to San Marie, and go to the Caribbean and do all that sort of stuff. It would be really cool to go to the Caribbean, and hopefully one day I could go. But yeah, so it was really cool, opening that, and then the people at the work, their work thing all together. They go to their Christmas party abroad in San Marie, and we get to see all this nice sort of like a montage with music and stuff of them like partying, drinking rum, doing like various things, like going in the water, going on boats, and just stuff like that, which I thought was a really cool thing to have in it as well. Um, Everything in it. But in the people who work at this place in Swindon, two of them are people who you guys might recognise. Leroy from Still Open Hours is in this episode, and also Bill Potts from Doctor Who, and they're together in a relationship. It's pretty random. I mean, I never thought I would see them two together on a TV program, but here they are. Well, I suppose they are both actors, so they would appear together. But yeah, it was pretty cool seeing them in it, and I think that was a good thing. Yeah, so this episode is just great, and I enjoyed it. Um, the commissioner is already in this episode, but he's in Swindon for like whole episode, because basically he had to go off, and he was in Beyond Paradise. He was in the episode that I reviewed a couple of days ago now. So he was in that episode. So he said that he was in England, and there was a case in England that he's got to solve, and then he goes there, and then he meets Marjorie, and they're looking through the stuff, because there's a bloke in the Caribbean who's been shot dead, and there's nothing they can do about it. He's been killed, left in the people who are on their work Christmas do. He's there on the Lilo, shot dead, and the commission basically the detective has said it has to be one of those four people. So how did he get here? None of them knew him, and then turns out two of them knew him, but they weren't the killer either. So that built that bit of suspense, thinking that they know the people, and it turns out because of the woman who left earlier, called Ashley Sims. She had supposedly nicked money from their office and stuff like that, and then she'd supposedly flown out and then given the money to this guy, who ended up being killed, supposedly by her, but we find out later on it wasn't her. So this basically forces Seb, Naomi, and Mervyn to try and discover out who the murderer was and who's Ashley Sims. So it takes a really nice backtrack where we see, where like we see Seb, yeah, Seb goes on all of these Sam Murray TV shows, Sam Murray Live or whatever, and he does all these massive billboards saying Ashley Sims, have you seen her? And he does like this whole like song and everything, which I thought was really really cool that they decided to do that. And Seb, I think he's a great character. I mean, he's very different to some of the other police officers in Death in Paradise that we've had over the years, but I think that he's a really great character, Seb. Very funny, a bit of a wally though, but a genius, because basically, Mervyn Wilson, right, told him to do whatever you can to find Ashley Sims or whatever. So he gets the massive billboards of her and everything, and even their own song, like a jingle that's on the radio. Ashley Sims, have you seen her? Like, call this number. And I think that was pretty like, oh, that was amazing. I really enjoyed that. That was just funny, and I really enjoyed that. We also have this side storyline going on with the detective as he's trying to find his, trying to track down his brother. And every time he thinks his brother's going to call, it turns out one of those scam callers. Do you want to change your mobile number, sort of things? Do you want to get a new phone, sort of things? Just adverts and stuff like that he keeps on getting. So much so that he misses out on the nativity thing. So they've got a nativity thing out, and he's like dressed up in a full nativity uniform as like a shepherd or an innkeeper or something like that. So he's dressed up like that. So he's wearing that and stuff. But he sort of says he's dressed like a Wally. It's a shame Darlene, I believe that's how you say her name. Darlene's not in this episode as much, unfortunately. I don't know why that is. Maybe the actress was too busy doing something else, or I don't know. But so she wasn't in this episode anymore. But I think this is definitely Seb's episode. I think he was really great in it. Yeah, and obviously he's trying to find his brother. Mervin's trying to find his brother as well. And at the end of this episode, they do get to call and stuff like that. So I think that's all really good. But going back to the episode where they do find Ashley Sims. So basically, they obviously on the billboard that I mentioned earlier, Seb had blown up and put everywhere. It said Blitzer, and Blitzer was one of the things that was written on the guy's hand who died. So they try and find out Blitzer, and turns out Blitzer was actually going past, like, I think it was Bournemouth or Portsmouth, I can't quite remember, that they say in the episode that's where it was going past. So that's where it was videoed. It wasn't San Marine. It was actually from the UK, which leads them on to discover a whole thing. But going back to the Commissioner, because the Commissioner, he doesn't get to go home, because he wants to go, not absolutely back to, Caribbean, but he's trying to meet up with his daughter in Yorkshire. So he was going to go there, and they were going to, do all their stuff, But unfortunately, the train gets delayed all the time, so he has to spend Christmas with Marjorie. And so Marjorie, as they go through that, and they discover that Marjorie, right, she was the murderer. So basically, she flew on a fake passport with Ashley Sims. So they discovered that Ashley Sims wasn't actually Ashley Sims. It was actually Marjorie. So Marjorie took her identity, right, and then went back, which I think is nuts. She went back there twice. She went there in October or something to, pay the man the money, because Marjorie killed Ashley by pushing her back and whacking her head on a table. So then she died, and then she buried her in the garden. I mean, these are mental. So then we have, Marjorie, and she flows to the Caribbean. She then, gives the money to that guy, says, "Oh, I'm going to rent a villa," sort of thing. Don't know why I did like rent a villa. Yeah, so she rents a villa, and then she pays the guy, and then after that, she then. So after she rents a villa, she then goes back to England, stays there for a while, and stuff like that. So just sort of, in the background doing her normal thing and stuff. So she's back in England. They go off to the Caribbean, but then she flies back to the Caribbean, and then she shoots the guy, right? And then she comes back the next day, and that's why, at the start of the episode, Marjorie's holding the suitcase, because the gun is in the suitcase. Don't know how the hell she got that through airport security, but, never mind. I don't know how she got it through airport security. Mental, but, don't read too much into it. It's a good episode, anyway. So he takes it back, and then that's when they find it in the drawer and stuff like that. But yeah, so she shot the guy, but then you're thinking, how did that guy then get into, their villa? Well, basically, he changed his shirt, and he only had a small cut. It was only a bullet wound was small, but turns out it was more fatal than he thought. He was going to go to the hospital, but then he decided to go sidetrack to tell them that they had your money, sort of thing. So he went back in there, and he was going to look for someone, and then he died. But then, believe it or not, Leroy from Still Open Laos, right? He was in a relationship with Ashley Sims, right? He loved her very much, sort of thing like that. and they went shooting and stuff like that. And she sent him a text message. It was actually Marjorie. Marjorie sent him a text message saying, "Oh, can you cover up the guy's body? You know, make it look like he was killed at the villa," sort of thing, which I thought was a really interesting thing to do. So then he replaces the bullet with the bullet when he went shooting with Ashley Sims. When he went shooting with Ashley Sims, he kept a bullet to remind her, remind him of him, or something like that, remind them of each other. So he kept that and then used it and then replaced the bullet, which sounds really disgusting. Replaced the bullet that had been shot with that one that had been shot where he was with Ashley Sims. So he replaced that, and then Leroy supposedly put it on the thing, and then he says, "Oh well, it was the rum, so I didn't remember, what happened last night." It seems so stupid because he was lying, and he sprayed. There was an ongoing thing about the deodorant, so they were spraying the deodorant the whole way through the episode, which I thought was a really weird thing, and they kept on mentioning it that about the deodorant. That was one of the key things that the detective was wondering about, like why is the deodorant there, sort of thing. So it turns out Leroy. That's basically what I'm going to call him because I can't remember the guy's name right. So Leroy sprayed the can of deodorant over him, put him on the lilo, and basically left it that. And basically the murderer was Marjorie. And Marjorie, when the commissioner finds out that Marjorie sort of is holding a knife, and I for a minute whilst I was watching this episode, I honestly thought she was going to stab the commissioner. I don't know why. I just had a feeling the commissioner was going to get injured, and he didn't. So I think everything turned out all right in the end. So that was sort of great. Glad that happened. But I'm giving this episode 10 out of 10. It was really good. I mean, I do like the new detective. He's all right, but I just think he needs a couple more episodes just for me to really, really like him. But yeah, I think this is a solid episode. 10 out of 10. Just knocked it out of the park. I think it was great. Shame no Darlene really in this episode. I mean, a little cameo of her in it. But overall, it was a good episode. Naomi was great as always, and Seb was great in it as well. That Ashley Sims, have you seen? I think that made me laugh. I mean, you've got to have something funny with this. This could have been shown on Christmas Day, and I don't know why it wasn't, personally. But nonetheless, I think it was a good episode. It's just one of a really good episode of Death in Paradise, and I think it was great, really. Looking forward to the new series. Hopefully that's good. Hopefully that comes out in January, February. Hopefully, there's been no confirmed yet, but yeah. But that was a really great episode, and I hope you enjoyed my review. I think this episode, though, just out of the general episodes, was generally really good and gripping as always. Really, nothing bad about it. just solid, really. A solid episode. But yeah, I love doing these reviews, and hopefully I can review more Death in Paradise stuff going into the future. I do still have plans for 2026. We're going to do some more character file reviews of Last of the Summer Wine characters because they're great. Maybe some more soap stuff, maybe. Possibility of doing some Doctor Who stuff, maybe. So stuff like that, and I'm really looking forward to this year. We're going to make this a great one on the channel, and hopefully we can get to 500 subscribers. Yeah. But thank you all for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in a video soon. So